Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Bricks King podcast, where I'm going to bend your ear about Lego, review those amazing bricks of plastic, and discuss what is new and up and coming around the Lego world. I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's build on it. Welcome in, everybody. How we doing? Hopefully you're doing lovely. Today we have another interview from BrickNerd. We only have 2 left, and you're going to get them both back to back here. First one today that we're going to, that you obviously know what you're listening to because you can see it in the title. Dave from BrickNerd. I had an opportunity to meet Dave in person last October when I went to New York City to take part in the Ninjago Crystallized premiere and that whole big thing up there. Ran into Brayden from Ninja Whip and a few others and stuff like that. Sean from Bricks by Mind, and it was a great opportunity. But that's where I met Dave, and we had an opportunity to really chat and stuff like that. And just kind of on a base level, but it wasn't like actually sitting down and doing an interview. So there's a lot to take away from this because as you will hear, Dave and BrickNerd in general, they have writers from all over the world and they just do things a little bit differently. So hopefully you enjoy this. Let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, guys, welcome back. Another interview, BrickWorld Chicago 2023. I've got Dave from BrickNerd here joining me this time. Another fellow ambassador from the Ambassador Network, which is always awesome because totally 2 different things. So, Dave, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me, first off.
Thanks for having me.
And secondly, you guys have some stuff set up down there, some building ideas or some... Okay, let me back up a second. You have things that are built that has a QR code for people that can get the instructions to build them?
Correct. So we, in addition to all of the kind of deep dive articles that we do about Lego culture and Lego history, we create instructions for people of really kind of fun builds that people can download for free.
Yeah.
And pop culture, other fun things, and we partner with Brick Journal to publish those instructions as well. But they're free for everybody.
So anybody that wants one, they can just go build it, display it,
go
whatever.
build it, display it.
But, and being that this is a giant convention, mock convention, essentially, it's really cool because everybody always tries to find that jumping off point. And you guys, while it's not an official Lego set that you can buy off a store shelf, the idea is there for you to start building. And then maybe they're like, you know what, I like this because you have a whole bunch of different things over there. Let me change the colors, or let me add something to it. So you've essentially started a new a new human mocker. Can we call him a mocker? A new mocker in training, essentially.
Well, everyone needs that, like you said, that starting off point where, oh, I love this, and it's like, oh, it's free. You can just collect the pieces, and then it's an introduction to, Bricklink or Bricks and Pieces.
Sure.
And oh no, I have these pieces in your collection already.
Yeah.
And then they get the bug of, oh, I can build that too.
Yeah.
And it's no cost to entry. I mean, Rebrickable does that really well too.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, and like you said, if you have, so it's just the instructions. They're not buying a pre-packaged or anything like that.
Nope.
They're just taking whatever they have at home.
Yep,
pieces. And the colors doesn't even matter.
Nope, they don't. We don't sell anything.
You can do a rainbow thing.
And we hope that when they go to the site as well, you stay for some of the amazing content that is produced by all the Brick Nerds around the world. We have about 50 contributors around the world. Global, we have more readers outside the U.S. than inside the U.S.
Yeah.
And then when they contribute articles, it's about their passions. So the article today that went out is everything you want to know about the Lego Frog. And it's the history of the Lego Frog, how it's been used by the fan community, and how it's turned into kind of a tribute piece.
Yeah.
At BrickWorld specifically.
Yeah. It's it's weird how certain things just they find that weird.
They take on a life of their own.
A life of their own.
It's like the goat or that. Or
it's the goat.
Any named
It's like on
brick.
the back of my computer. I got a goat sticker.
Exactly.
Somebody gave me last year. It's like, well, this is where it needs to go.
Well, this is a special year for BrickNerd too because it's our 10th anniversary.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. And so it was started by Tommy Williamson about 10 years ago, and we've just kind of carried on his legacy. And so he made this kind of red brick character called, we call him Nerdly. And so in the hall, there are about 100 of them that we've hidden everywhere.
Oh, okay.
So if you see a red brick with black glasses around, that's kind of our logo.
Gotcha.
And every year we sponsor a contest of remake that character into something else, something amazing.
Yeah.
And so there are thousands of versions of this everywhere. And so we wanted to go big, and so we made a 12 times size version of one that's on the table just down the hallway from all these people. I'm sure everyone can imagine in their head. But it's just a fun way to catch attention and celebrate where we came from.
That's awesome. And 10 years, that's a tough thing to do, to keep enough passion. And it's not just you. You had mentioned that you guys have dozens of collaborators from all over the world.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about all of that, how all of that works, because it's like myself, it's just me. I don't have a whole lot of collaborators. Most people don't want to listen to their own voice.
I don't know how you do it yourself without a team, helping you out. I am nothing without the contributors, but it's fascinating because when you have a passion about something, people tend to attract other people that have passions.
Sure.
I don't want to call it multi-level marketing, but it's more like, I have a friend who really knows Galador. He could be our Galador contributor and write all the Galador posts. And all of a sudden we have this treasure trove of Galador content, even if it's just an article every other month or something.
Sure.
But then that's history that's preserved. And so that happened with someone with Modulex bricks. It happened with someone who is Adventurer's Line. It happened someone with the GBC. We have a train guy. We have a few women who are into Scala and castles. And so we try to have kind of a subject matter expert. And then when we don't, we search for that person who has that knowledge, and who can share it in a guest article or a one-time thing. And sometimes when you are at a guest article, they get hooked and they're like, I have ideas for 10 more of these.
Yeah.
And it's we see it as a way to kind of preserve Lego history as well, because there aren't a lot of sites kind of doing long-form, deep-dive content. The magazines do it great, but that's also a barrier to entry because you have to pay for the magazines.
Yep.
And it isn't as searchable online for...
You're right.
For fans who want to, find things. One of our most successful series is our Snot series, where we just go over just new techniques with new pieces as they come out, and people love that. We have mathematics of Lego articles, but then we have
that's deep there.
Yeah, it's fun. We actually pull out the trig and the
You're talking above my level here.
And the Pythagorean theorem and stuff like that. But we also have fun stuff, just like in terms of what is it like to display at a convention for the first time.
Okay.
And so all different levels. And the nice thing is that you never know what we're going to publish every day.
Yeah.
Usually when it comes to Lego media, there's kind of
a rough idea.
There's a cadence. It's like you go to one site, it's like, okay, we're doing all Hocus Pocus themed stuff today.
Yeah.
Whereas for us, it's like, you never know. And I've even heard of there's two people at this convention actually said, we love reading your site. There's a couple. And we sit down at breakfast and we always bet with each other on what the topic's going to be. And we always get it wrong.
Somebody's losing some money.
Yeah.
Or both. Nobody's winning any money for that matter.
But the fun thing is seeing what everyone else is doing. What are the conventions doing? What are podcasts are doing?
Yeah.
And the rest of the team, we post all these articles and links to podcasts and even like TikToks and Twitch streams of this is amazing content.
Yeah.
You should watch this. And then we summarize that every month in terms of like it's not quite a newsletter, but it's kind of like the best of every single month. And we put links to everybody else of all the great stuff that's out there.
Very cool.
We also do a monthly roundup of all the Lego contests that are out there.
Which it seems so difficult to keep track. There's so many. There's always something going on. And before people realize it, it's ended.
Yeah. And so and there's no one repository for that.
Sure.
And you just have to know what's going on and what community is doing what. And so by putting it all in one place, it's you can just go there, bookmark it, and know every single month what is the contest, and maybe win some cool prizes or sets or who knows.
And go back in the morning when you're eating your breakfast and coffee and
exactly
and sit and figure out what is going on with contests and stuff like that.
And I think it's something that you do really well is that you listen. to people and their stories. And
it's the best part.
It is the best part. It's the people behind it. It's not the Lego. It's not the sets. It's not even the designers. It's the people and the culture that is created by it.
Yeah.
There are so many good aspects. Every now and then some negative aspects come up.
Of course.
Any community will happen.
Yeah.
But there's just an overwhelming sense of community. Just inspired by this, simple little plastic brick, right?
That you've got hanging in front of you. Yeah. Absolutely. Very cool. So being not just you, but BrickNerd, being an ambassador, a fan media like the Brick King podcast, like YouTubers that are out there, like bloggers that are out there, the magazine guys that are out there, Blocks Magazine, and I'm forgetting the other one.
Brick Journal.
Brick Journal. Yes. How has the ambassador program kind of helped BrickNerd maybe reach other people? Because you and I connected in New York. We were in New York City for the Ninjago thing back in October.
Yes.
And that's the first time I'd ever met you. I've seen your face on the Ambassador Network, and it's like, oh, there is a person that actually goes with that face. It's so wild to see. But how has the Ambassador Network kind of helped you guys like reach people? Not just other ambassadors, but kind of reach different kind of, I guess maybe demographics is the word I'm looking for.
That's a good question. I think two parts. One is between Lego fan media. Sometimes we tend to be very insular because we're all doing our own thing.
Sure.
And it's almost all time consuming.
Yeah.
And the LAN is something that can break the barriers a little bit and have people team up and join up and, I'm sharing this, I'm doing this. This is a concern that I have, and other people have that too and will speak up. Or this is an opportunity where we can work together.
Yeah.
And it's a very unique mindset, and knowing that you're not the only person out there doing it, it's a good community. It's kind of like trial by fire. Like I think that's why whenever Lego fan media get together, it's always a fun time because it's like we know what everybody else goes through, right? And so it's basically nice having an excuse to have that kind of community.
Sure.
Though with the caveat that there are a lot of people who are not in the program that are just as worthy of being in the program. And so being able to welcome them into different activities too.
Yeah.
There's some great YouTubers and Twitch streamers that I just listen to. Even podcasts. There's a podcast that just started coming out called AFOL Talks.
Oh, okay.
I apologize. I don't remember the name of the person who was doing it.
No idea.
But I turned that on and I built it. I learned so much, and it's a great interview.
That's fantastic.
So I like that there's a gathering place.
Yeah.
Now, from a different side of it, it has been useful for us to connect globally, because, for example, I don't know Lego builders in Brazil.
True.
And on the LAN, I can post and say, hey, we would love to see what the Lego experience is like in South America. We're looking for someone to share their story. And so you have LAN ambassadors from lugs down there, Lego user groups, who will say, oh, we'd love to showcase what we're doing. We have this project coming up. Oh, we're installing this thing at a museum, and they're going full in, and we'd love to share it with the world.
Sure.
And so being able to find some of that and the people who are willing to talk, and from there maybe have someone who wants to be a contributor and say, okay, I want to be the AFOL's voice for BrickNerd for South America for a year or two or however long they're interested in helping out.
And you plant that seed, and then blossom into something, like you said. Before you know it, you have a contributor down in Chile or Brazil or Paraguay or something like that. And before you know it, you have this whole every country is.
What's interesting, last year, we do a state of the BrickNerd report at the end of it each year, and we have a map of everywhere that we've highlighted a story or have a contributor.
Okay.
And it's my goal to just block out that map. We have yet to feature somebody in mainland China, but hopefully with their new Lego Masters over there, we'll be able to. We're working with someone in India now. We want to share what's going on in that community because it's amazing what they're doing. And then places that Lego's a little bit harder to access on the African continent. So we're trying to work with a few fans there that are really eager to kind of share their culture through Lego as well.
Well, and you bring up, like with India, for instance, there's so many different cultural aspects to Lego. It could be just a matter of what are you doing with the brick today, but then you go to, a convention or something like that and you see somebody that has some kind of figurehead from that culture built in Lego, and you're like, I would have never known that.
Exactly.
I would have never been able to find that out had somebody not done the legwork to find somebody, and then that person share it back as well.
Well, and I think it's something that Lego is spearheading a little bit because their Monkey Kid line, the Chinese New Year, they just opened up some headquarters in India, and also in the Middle East.
Yes.
And so these are areas that, they would not be opening headquarters there if it wasn't a good market for them or if they didn't want to expand there. So hopefully that means that the AFOL community will follow in some way, shape, or form. I know that Japan just had their, I think it's the BrickFest convention, and the most incredible mechs you've ever seen.
Yes.
And some of the artistry just there is just, it just blows your mind. And it's just the cultural background, and it's that kind of diverse perspective that going to U.S. convention is great, and you see a lot of different things, but just coming from a different cultural background can lead to some brand new techniques and some brand new things that you see that you never even thought was possible.
Yeah. And now that you mention it, like I would never stop and think like, well, yeah, there's all of this stuff that's going on the other side of the world. I mean, I know it's there. I know some of the culture living in Japan for a year, but having it brought into Lego form in some way, shape, or form, it changes everything. And then you're like, oh my God, there's somebody else that really went above and beyond. Like you see some of the mocks in here, and they're incredible.
Oh, like New Hashima.
Right.
New Hashima is, I think it's the biggest collab. It's got to be one of the biggest collabs in U.S. history. It was 70 builders, and someone had an idea about, let's do this kind of steampunk cyber city.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Ninjago City on steroids.
Yes.
And that's putting it lightly.
Yes.
And one person had the idea, another person said, let's standardize this so everyone can participate. And so they, made, this is our standard cube size. This is how we can stack them and do everything. This is how we're going to light them all. And then they give it a trial run. One person built something really cool. It's like, that's amazing parts usage. Oh my goodness, are you using all that salmon color from the Scala sets way back when?
Right.
Like did you buy all of them on BrickLink?
On BrickLink,
and that gets someone else excited about, I can use these amazing parts. And it just it turned into an avalanche. And this collab, I think, is going to go down in history of, oh my goodness, I can't believe you were there when you saw it in person.
Do you remember 2023?
But that's bringing so many people together for a common goal, and just seeing them build it is awe-inspiring. And that would have never happened without the brick.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very, very true. So, BrickNerd aside, which is fantastic, you guys obviously are reaching across the world, which is incredible. Your personal journey, the Dave that's sitting right here in the chair right now on the couch. No, where did your Lego journey begin to get you? Obviously, you're here at probably one of the world's top 5 biggest conventions, if not one of the. I don't know. It probably rivals for the top. But where did it start? How did you get to this point?
I played with it as a kid. Our family, it was more of a sacrifice to buy Lego, and so it was very important. So I had a few sets that I played with, and you just take it apart and you build it again, or you build something else. And so having kind of that limited supply really helps you see the possibilities of the brick. Then, like many AFOLs, I had a dark age when I went through college and everything.
Sure.
And then I ended up getting a job working with Microsoft in Seattle. And they had kind of a decorate your office. They just made new offices. They wanted everyone to decorate their office. And the person next to me went all in on Lord of the Rings with paper mache and had the round door with the doorknob. I'm like, oh my goodness, expectations are so high. I don't know what I'm going to do. The person next to me brought in like tarps and like real sand and tiki torches.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh boy, this is out of my league.
Yeah.
And then I had a cousin who was leaving the country for a few years who had a bunch of these like huge Lego sets I never even knew that they made, like UCS, Star Wars sets, and the original Harry Potter line, all these crazy sets. all broken apart into one big tub with just the instructions.
Okay.
And I was helping him pack up before his trip, and he's like, "Oh, do you just want these, Lego for a few years? We played with it as a kid." I'm like,
"Yeah."
And then the light bulb went off. It's like, "Oh, I could just build these sets, these old sets, and put those on display right in my office."
Right.
And I work in Crisis, and so sorting through these gallons and gallons of just loose brick to find the pieces to then build the set was really cathartic. It was so cathartic. And so I started bringing in some of these big, huge pieces.
Yeah.
And everyone got excited because it was the Lego that they had when they grew up and things. And then after the little period was over and HR came up, and it was a little bit of a fire code violation for everybody else.
Right.
And they said, "Could you leave the Lego up?" I'm like, "Are you sure? There's Lego everywhere." They're like, "Well, you see, your office is right across the hallway from our recruiting place, and so they can see how creative we are here."
Okay.
And it doesn't break fire code. So it's like, could you just leave it up? And then I felt pressure to always have the newest thing.
Yeah, okay.
And so it's like I would always buy the newest, hugest
that you could get.
Creator Taj Mahal or whatever.
Yeah.
And then when you get into the cadence of buying the newest thing, it's addictive. I need the newest, biggest thing. And that was back when Lego released one or two big things a year. Now it's every month.
Right.
I can't keep up. My collection used to be the big stuff. I can't keep up.
Now you're like, I just can't.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
And from there, it snowballed into meeting a lug. And then I helped volunteer for BrickCon. At one point in time, I was the news editor for Brothers Brick because they're based in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
And then just move on, and then moved to BrickNerd now, which is fantastic. And who knows what's next?
And who knows what's next? The sky's the limit. There's always Lego's not going anywhere. I mean, it's only gotten bigger, and it appears like it's only getting bigger as we continue to go. So. With all of the things that are going on right now, we've got an announcement. I think they're done.
I love convention announcements. It's like peanuts.
You can't hear a thing.
Yeah.
Nobody can understand a thing. So you touched on, trying to collect and keep up with the big adult stuff that constantly is flowing out. New announcement with the Eldorado Fortress, touching some of that nostalgia, hitting that nostalgia button.
It hits mine because the one set that I had that I kept on building over and over again, it wasn't Eldorado Fortress, but it was like a trading post or something. It was on two base plates. It was a raised base plate and a lower one, but it came with a small ship.
Yeah.
And it was the Imperials. And so I saw that. It's like, oh, that's going to be one. It's going to be one.
So I've asked a few people, what are your, and being an ambassador, I'm really curious about this opinion. It feels like the pendulum is definitely swung towards let's go after the AFOL, the adult, the true adult. Let's give them what they want.
Hit them right in the nostalgia.
Hit them right in the nostalgia. How do you think that has gone for you, obviously, as a nostalgic fan, as an adult collector, as somebody that's an ambassador? How do you think that is faring so far for Lego? From your opinion.
I think it's faring fantastically for them because if they can hit that one thing that you love or that person loves, whether it be, the giant lips logo, or I forget which band it is, or Jurassic Park, the dinosaur, or Sonic.
Yeah.
If you can hit that one passion point of yours, and you have to have it, it's just like the instructions that we do. It's that. It's the entry drug, because if you love that, you're more likely to pick up. Oh, I also like flowers too, or oh, that Lego thing was fun. maybe my mom would like that for Mother's Day. I can build that for her. And again, it just starts cascading. So I think it's been immensely successful for Lego, and I think we see the proof of that just from the popularity of these conventions. From the Lego house taking off, from just walk down your local toy store toy aisle, and half the time it's gone.
Yeah. Trying to find Lego in a big box store is almost impossible these days.
I don't see sales anymore.
No.
And big box stores are starting to sell bigger and bigger sets too.
Yes, and that is the funniest thing to me. So it was probably 3-ish years ago, and I live in a rural town outside of Dallas, and the closest store, Target, Walmart, both of them. Target was the first one, and I'm like, what is this? It was one of the Winter Village sets a couple years ago. I was like, what is this doing here?
Okay.
Like, this is the first time I'm like, I've never seen anything like this. Like in the old days, Toys R Us, you would expect something like that, right?
Winter Village was my first mock, by the way.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Because I got all the Winter Village sets, and then I was like, oh, I want them bigger. And so I bought 2 of the same set and like started building them together. Yeah. And then it just cascaded from there. But anyway, go ahead.
It just took off.
Yeah.
Well, no. So it's interesting because they're starting to carry more and more things. And things like I wouldn't expect, like the botanicals or some of...
I saw the modular at a Walmart
The
other day.
right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this seems really weird. Now, I've not seen like a UCS Millennium Falcon or anything like that.
I saw the land speeder.
I did see the land speeder somewhere, and again, I'm like, what is going on? So some of those things are starting to trickle down, and again, it's kind of where you said the success. It's been very successful. It's lucrative for sure, but it has been very successful to see how that has really made its way down. Of course, you're going to find it in Lego store. Finding it at a smaller retail, I shouldn't say smaller retailer, but a retailer that's not known for carrying that pricey of merchandise.
Well, I think you also have to look at it from a corporate perspective too, because Lego is a company, right? It's a culture for us. It's our life, right? And we love sets, we love the designers, but looking at it from a business perspective, I think that they've had some kind of innovations in the last few years where they can do shorter runs and faster runs of sets. Either that or they're just expanding their team like crazy, because with all these different passion points, you're not going to have as big a run as like a modular.
Sure.
But if you hit that one, and you're not going to be able to stock them like crazy, but if you're able to manufacture them quickly and get them out quickly and have less of them out of stock all the time online.
Right.
So I think that from the manufacturing side, there's also been a lot of innovations and a lot of things probably they're not telling us either. Plus with the new factory coming that they're building in the United States.
Yes.
In Virginia. I think that they're trying to be more and more nimble to jump on trends faster, like that you're seeing with BTS, with Hocus Pocus even. That hits some crowd and not everybody else.
Sure.
Or even the new Icons of Play Soccer set.
Yes.
You're starting to see sets not for everybody, and that's okay. It's kind of funny. I'm in a lot of AFOL groups, and whenever they see something that isn't for them, they complain a little bit.
Sure.
AFOL's going to AFOL, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, why did they do the whole team, or why isn't this here? Or why is it BTS? Who is BTS? I've never heard of them. Like, well, the set is not for you.
Right.
It's for, the billion of other people on the other side of the world.
Yeah, exactly.
That it's going to be their passion point, their entry drug to the whole Lego ecosystem. And so I like seeing what Lego bets on in terms of, where are those entry points. It's really fun from both a fan perspective and someone who's slightly interested in economics. And that's the whole nerd part of BrickNerd.
The whole nerd in BrickNerd. That is the nerd.
We did a whole article analyzing the price increases last year. We actually brought in an economist and statistician to look at all the price increases to compare it to historical inflation prices to see were the price increases justified or not. And it turns out that they actually were justified for inflation. Okay. It wasn't greed, it was actually inflation. But we went through, it was a very long article, analyzed everything.
You have? Oh, thank you.
We're getting assaulted with swag here.
We got some coolness that just got dropped on the table here. But, so, the last thing I wanted to ask, how can somebody, like, let's say they, you know what, I built something really cool, or I'd like to be able to write about something. How can they get in contact, or how can they reach that bottom level with BrickNerd to be like, hey, Dave from BrickNerd, how can I potentially look at writing for you, or how can I get in contact to at least start the wheels of motion? Is that where you need to find them, or is there a way they can find you?
It works both ways. There are amazing people in the community who come from everywhere. So read BrickNerd. We have a patron.
Okay.
We really don't make money. We just are.
It's just there.
Whatever goes out back to the community.
Sure.
So patron is a really good way to do that, because then you can join our Discord.
Yeah.
Where we chat with our patrons and with our contributors. That's where you can say, hey, this is a story idea that's great, and suggest to us. And if you're interested in writing or have a story you want to tell, send me an email at dave@bricknerd.com.
Awesome. So bricknerd.com. I'm assuming you guys are social media somewhere on social media.
Just look up BrickNerd or BrickNerd Official.
Right. Yep. Okay.
Look for the red brick with the
glasses on it.
Yep.
The black glasses on it. All right. So, Dave, thanks for coming on. Guys, make sure you go check out bricknerd.com. If you're curious, just like Dave said, reach out and go from there. So, Dave, thanks for coming on. Can't wait to see you again at another convention or who knows, in New York City again.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having us and or having me too. And that's the fun thing about the Lego community is that you never know when someone else is going to pop up, and it's like a family reunion. It's like, hey.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're right. So, all right, that's going to do it, guys. Again, make sure bricknerd.com and hang around for the next interview. Well, that'll wrap it up. Nice little interview with Dave. I had a really great time talking to him. I probably could have talked to him for another 2 hours. He's a really nice guy to just talk to. A lot of information, different kind of life experiences and stuff than I think sometimes you get from a Lego community. Obviously, everybody's different. It just came across in a different vein, talking to him versus talking to Shai, two totally different worlds, because again, they're totally different people, but they're also coming from two crazily different perspectives of things, and it's just, it's really cool to be able to chat with anybody about Lego or life in general, because all of us, have things that intertwine and cross over and have, relationships with different things and different people and stuff like that. So it was a really great experience to be able to just sit down and actually chat with Dave and then let you guys hear it as well, because there was no way that was happening in New York last year. So we do have one interview coming up. I saved this one for last, just like I told her I was going to. We have Kate, as known as Brick Huntress. So that one is going to be coming on the back side of this. And then that'll wrap everything up for Brick World Chicago. We do have a few that are coming down the way here that are outside of Brick World Chicago, just because either I didn't have time or they didn't have time or our schedules just didn't coalesce. So we do have that coming. So until we meet again, I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's build on it.